We're back, folks. Is this the earliest LNG stream ever?
I feel like we did one other noon show for
Maybe.
maybe in 22 or 23.
Yeah, maybe so. It feels very different, but we're thrilled to be here. Happy Sunday,
Actually,
everyone.
it's actually, there's probably light outside in London.
Dude, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I can do this show
Right.
and then go and live a Sunday evening. It's unbelievable. I've never had it so good. It's a glorious occasion. We are currently recovering from the biggest party of the summer. How the party went is the question, though. That's what we're going to get into here today. We hope everyone is well, fired up. If Bob was here, he would tell you to smash the like button, so I'm going to do it on his behalf. Lord Oracle, you are here. How are you this evening, brother? Or this
I'm
morning,
good. I'm
afternoon?
good. The afternoon just began here, where I am at. So I've had a good morning. I watched Collision, which was a good show. Um, you know, uh, so yeah, I'm doing good. You know, catch some of the Olympics when I can.
Yep,
Watched a little bit. Women's beach volleyball, of course, because I'm me.
of course. Yep.
Um,
You're an expert.
and and so
So
yeah,
stupid.
I'm ready. I'm ready to cover this show.
Yep, indeed you are, folks. And what a show to cover, right? I have caught up on this show this morning, and I've only just got online in the last hour or so, and I've mostly avoided because I wanted to. You and I haven't even talked at length about our opinions on this. This is going to be completely blind for both of us. Watching it, I'll lead with this, and then we'll get into the details because I don't know. I'm intrigued how you'll react to this. Watching it, I thought it was a show that entirely reflected what we kind of suspected going in, which was like, I think a lot of it was like, yeah, it's pretty good. It was cool. Um, Very little on the show surprised me, and I think the big twists were you could see them coming. And I don't mean that as a criticism, but you could, right? And it blew me away to then go online and see that this show was received extremely hot or cold. There was a lot of, real aggression about the opinions. It kind of came in roughly around where I was expecting it to. Are you in a similar place in that regard overall before we get into the matches?
Yeah, I mean, it was very much, you know, sort of sweeping broad strokes show, like,
Mhm.
pretty predictable. Triple H's booking has been predictable for 15 years.
Right, that's just what he does,
So,
yeah.
if you don't like that type of booking, very even highly predictable booking, you're just not gonna like it. Um,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. The opposite of that is Vince Russo, what do you want?
Right.
And I'm not even, someone who's gonna say that I love all the, predictability, not so much for the predictability, but,
Right.
more so for, like, certain details and stuff within the matches, but, I mean, yeah, it's super predictable. He always runs angles and stuff on his big shows. He did that in TakeOver too.
Yeah.
You have to know you have to have an idea of who the booker is.
Yes.
Um, and if you can grasp who the booker is, things will make sense. You don't have to like it.
For sure.
You're entitled to your opinion. Um,
And with the stuff on the
I
show that
don't
I
even
don't think
agree
you
with all the,
right,
necessarily with all
exactly, yeah.
the, negative
Yeah.
takes on it or,
Yeah.
whatever, but, uh, I mean, yeah, it was a broad stroke show. Um,
Angle heavy,
I'm not
development heavy.
certain, other than WrestleMania 39 in LA, WWE show pay-per-views in ring don't really do it for me anymore, and that's
Yeah.
kinda disappointing. Um, this show had one match I thought was absolutely terrific, and we'll talk about it, but, everything else kinda ranged from, like, kinda bad at times to, good, solid, but, like, I do wish the in-ring was as good as it was in the 2010s, and 2000s, but it's just
I
it's just not
there's
it's
a
not as it used to be.
I do think there's a lack of variety, I think.
Mhm.
And I also
Everything's
think
homogenized.
I
Yeah.
think some physicality is lacking at times too.
Mhm.
And you and I have talked about how a lot of that is actually a victim of his success in that that everyone's so over now.
Yep.
And I think the reason Gunther stands out so much is because he actually
Yes.
is his stuff's tight, right? It's
Mhm.
snappy and crunchy. It's like, yeah, I am. we're in a similar spot with that. But we'll get into all the details here.
Clash of the Castle is a great show too in 22.
Yes.
That was a great in-ring show.
2022.
Great show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. And I'm not even as negative as others, but like it's like the exact opposite with AEW. You know, like I know the matches are going to be good.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the show's long. Like the booking's going to be questionable. Like where the booking makes sense, even if I don't necessarily agree always with it, but I think it's strong. I think everybody stays over. Like it's just the match quality isn't what I want it to be all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's those are kind of my overall takes on the show. But
we'll quickly, Oracle,
everything down more clearly
because the chat's bringing it up. I thought it was just me. There's a few comments about it. How many matches?
Okay,
ring posts, dude.
This stuff I would notice it some, but and I don't want to. I mean, it doesn't matter. He won't care. I have a brother who works in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bruce Pritchard.
That is a massive pet peeve of his, and he has convinced me. And the more I talk to him about the shows that he works on, those are things that he can't stand, and I can't stand it now. And when you have that type of stuff, WWE both are bad. WWE is especially terrible about it. Listen. A bunch of people aren't going to sit there and like. I can see the argument of like saying like, well, who cares if nobody's going to notice that stuff? But like,
people do notice it. They do
notice it more than you think.
do.
I think, and
yeah, they do notice.
I thought that was a pretty bad trend over the night.
It's
stuff like that. That's like the shoulder stuff was out of. I mean that was a problem for me on the show.
Yeah. The first two matches, it was
bad
like
agenting or bad agenting. That's bad producing. That's the type of stuff that really.
I think it's
on my nerves.
In WWE,
especially on the big shows when you're really kind of looking for good in ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah, quality. You want that range and that stylistic variety. It's those big posts they have in WWE, they make good sound, right? And I think agents have like fallen in love with that as a transition. Yeah. But there's 101 ways to cut someone off, you know.
Well, and we'll talk about they did the the shoulder work in Liv Rhea, and then they immediately did a shoulder spot with Braun in the next match. Yeah. It's like,
it was weird. It was weird. Very strange. All right, we have some super chats.
Then we'll go match. Terrible, but I mean,
no, we just took. It was something that I noticed, and I wondered if it was just me going mad, but it obviously, it's something people realize. Yeah. But when I was watching with my family, Papa Holbert, he's not exactly got a notepad out watching these things, and he said to me, "How many people are going to hurt their shoulder on the ring post?" I mean, people do notice these things, It's especially when it's so pronounced. But nonetheless, we have some super chats here, and we'll go match by match afterwards. Andy says this wasn't a show for the casual or for anyone who doesn't follow weekly, but your attention was rewarded with good angle progression and bluffs. I've seen the word rewarding used a lot, and I think that is a fair point, and I actually think explains why there is a difference in opinion somewhat about SummerSlam, right? People dropping in compared to people that have been waiting for Finn to turn on Priest or whatever it may be. I think that's a fair point. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. Some shows will be able to do both. I think this one leaned more in terms of angle progression. Okay. Crown says, a show defined by strong angles and payoffs and not so much great matches, so I don't know how to feel. Yeah. It seems like the Grinner Circle is in a pretty similar spot. Thank you to Andy and Crown both for the super chats. Brainbuster, friend of the show. Ultra hot take. Punk Drew was fine. I don't know, man. We'll get there. We'll get there, folks. But yeah, sure. We'll get there. Brainbuster, thank you for the super chat. Cal, well, we appreciate the support, folks. This show is very early. He says, I think Triple H has cultivated a mentality of big angle payoffs that build over the course of many months to very positive responses of their audience. I agree completely with that. Yeah. And it's a mentality that at times I have my fun with, and we all do. It's that bloodline cinema kind of framing, right? It's
exactly. And like, if you just, this is where the WWE hasn't really changed their stripes, right? They do things in their very soap opera-ish way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like that stuff, you're just gonna think it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just gonna think
Yeah.
it's, I mean, like,
They're
that's
never
just
going to
that's
change
the
it very much.
difference. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the negative reviews. It's like, this stock can't take this stuff, and like some that I don't like. I mean, we'll get into it. You know, I mean, like the
At
fucking
times,
bracelet, man. I mean, come on, for God's sake.
what do we
But like,
say? The
like,
bracelet, yeah.
but like, it's very much like, like the Judgment Day turns, Roman's return at the end of the show. Like, that's very much like WWE peak kind of stuff, and like it was great payoffs. But if you're not into the sort of the melodramatic style of that,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's not
They
fun.
really strive for, and this can be a positive and a negative, but those moments, they really want to capture them in a sort of cinematic fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And at times,
Like when they had
I
a shot
think,
where we'll get to it with Balor, like
okay,
down.
you've gone there, so we'll just pull the band-aid off on that. Dude, you can do it. I promise you can do a heel turn without Finn having to do that face.
I
Please.
know. I know.
I love
know.
Finn Balor, but come on, bro. Come on. That was that the best that he had? If that was the best, just let him do a heel turn. You could. Sometimes I think they can overextend for the still image, for the video package shot.
I agree with
Right.
Jake 100%, by the way. There's something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit before the show, Joe. If you get my drift, and I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you don't like it, just don't watch it.
Yeah. It's if you didn't like this show, that doesn't mean you don't have to. You can't watch.
Oh yeah,
There's stuff I don't like.
You can be critical of it. It's just like,
But there's some elements that are baked in at this point.
I try to
right?
be open-minded and read everybody's reviews and their opinions, even if I don't agree with it. And like, sometimes I just, I read stuff and it's like, you seemingly don't like this at all over the course of many months. I mean, it seems unhealthy.
Right. They don't hide their house style, I guess is your point, right?
No.
Yeah. Absolutely. Grant's back again. He says the biggest enemy of a wrestler in WWE is the ring post.
Evidently.
They got to make sure to avoid that. I'm pretty sure that was sent before we started talking about it, which is very funny. Love it. Tremendous. Colt Boom Boom Cabana says, I wasn't a fan of the show overall. However, I respected this show. Seemed to really reward the weekly viewer more than the other Hunter monthly shows. I like it. There you go, Colt. Same line of thinking, even from the other side of the argument. Kartik says, the Punk match wasn't entirely my taste. The LNG swayed me. It's our fault. The LNG swayed me with fancies of Flair Funk, but I was taken by the drama. My goodness. Punk removing the bracelet got a big pop. It set up several matches and was a success. Well, that's the big question. We'll get back to it. We're in a similar spot on this, Kartik, to give a little teaser there. But thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it very much. Mavs fan, last one for now. Gunther feels like a wrestler from a different promotion. He does, and that's his superpower.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Brett in the mid-90s. That's what makes him pop even more. I truly believe that. I think Gunther stands out more because he's such an outlier. I mean, he'd be an outlier anywhere, really, to some extent, right? But yeah, he's spectacular. All right, let's get into it. This is a show where I actually think we'll go through this one by one, and it's the right play here. Let's start with one that we all knew would be coming with some drama. That was the best version of this match, the most obvious version. Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. And this had a big time build. The people with this, at one point, they were dueling chants for this, which was pretty neat. I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they navigated the issues we were pondering about Liv's. I thought Liv actually did a pretty good job of making it make sense best she could.
Yeah.
There were some issues I'll elaborate on momentarily, but I don't want to take all your talking points. Oracle, what did you make of it? Go for it.
Toot my own horn for a second. Who booked this who agented this match on Friday night?
You did. You absolutely did. You deserve credit, and the floor is yours, Oracle. What did you think of it?
So on Friday I said, well, I mean, they're gonna go 15 minutes.
Which they did.
Liv's gonna, do her version of Larry Zbyszko, and Rhea's gonna beat her up for a little bit, and then Rhea's gonna hurt her shoulder, and Liv's gonna work over it, and then they're gonna do some near falls. There's gonna be a Dom interference. Dom's gonna turn at the end of the match. Paul Levesque, I'd like to have my money, please. But uh, this was solid. I the first part where Rhea like ran her shoulder into the announce table was neat. I don't think they had to do it again.
No, I don't either.
I thought that was silly. The Dom interference, the psychology behind it was actually like the kayfabe psychology was brilliant. Like Dom, like don't use the chair because Rhea's so mad at Liv. You'll get DQ'd, and then he yells at Liv. I was slightly. I guess the point was that the announcer was supposed to be confused, but the ring was mic'd up. It was audibly supposed to be set up where Dom like clearly tells Liv, hit her. Use
right.
use the chair. And I'm thinking, and I was like, okay, guys, did you not hear him say that on the?
Right.
Like, I guess the whole idea is one of the. Maybe it was deliberately meant to be one of those things where like.
I agree. This confused me.
Like the commentary doesn't know until the kiss.
He pointed and everything. He did like a motion and I didn't get that. Okay, good. Okay, cool.
I was confused by the commentary. I was like, guys, are you not noticing that like this was deliberately done, like obvious and like
he distracted the ref and everything.
The post-match stuff was great. The near fall off the first Oblivion was awesome. Great.
Yes, they came up for that.
Great drama for that. I thought it was a solid enough match. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was super. I thought it was a fun 15 minutes.
Yep.
I love the finish. There are some people who I've seen say they wish that Rhea had just kind of dumped Dom. Because that's kind of more in line with Rhea's characters. She could be the one to dump him and like, obviously still be the babyface and Dom but in this case, I thought they executed it really well. There's a line there where in terms of like staying with the Rhea character, you may have to be a little careful, but I thought that they wrote that pretty well and
I agree. And it helps Liv too.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm excited to see what comes next with this feud, which is what you always want.
Yeah, I agree. I thought from a performance point of view, this was pretty impressive. And I thought Liv, when it was time to get aggressive and go for that shoulder that you agented so expertly, I thought she did a good job of that, and she went for it, and that's all you can do, right? And so I thought they did a good job of navigating that runtime and the size difference. The couple things I would say is I'm with you on I thought I didn't love the way they executed, the way the announcer at least executed that finish. I thought they could have done a better job giving it more punch. Even though I think it was the right
Cole's
finish.
Call after the kiss was
perfect.
Great. That was awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
You son of a bitch or whatever.
Right. He loves playing it. He loves playing a Jim Ross cover these days, doesn't he? He loves getting some.
He's gotten better at the Jim Ross because when he was 25 years ago, he was real bad at it. But Cole's gotten pretty good at it. He's not JR, but he does a decent
I enjoy him at this point. I do. Yeah, I enjoy him. The one thing I would say is, I think when they produce Rhea Ripley matches, Rhea has an ability. I mean, she has her ability to have those kind of striking facial expressions. Sometimes I think rather than letting them emerge organically, they like sort of punch them into her matches, you know, and they'll give her these like one shots, and I get it. I understand what they're going for, but I would like to see less of that and more of the clobbering that we know, because she can be super physical. And sometimes I think Rhea is producing good matches in a shape and in a form that I actually don't think highlights the stuff she's best at, weirdly. I think she's so physically capable. But again, that's a small thing. This particular match, I thought it came off pretty good. Good call for the opener, right? Because I think that the fresh crowd helped them. The people were with it.
I actually really like how you pointed out her physical charisma, because she's obviously physically gifted in the ring, but her physical charisma is kind of what's gotten her really over,
For sure.
Swagger, the way she carries herself, and all that stuff.
Absolutely. So I thought it was good, and I think if we're being honest, the reality with this program is it's probably not going to produce some sort of classic match catalog. That's not the point. But it's an over conflict, isn't it? It's a rivalry that I think the people care about, and I think it seems to be the thing that's finally getting Liv kind of over the line.
She seems like a main player now. Yeah,
she does, and everyone will do that in different fashion. Like I don't know if she's ever going to consistently have great matches, but I think I think Liv has come a pretty decent. I mean, I thought her heel work here compared to what I saw against Becky a few months back, I thought it was night and day. So, it is what it is, right? So, yeah, I liked the first match. All right, let's move ahead now to one that was. This actually did catch us a bit off guard. I think the length of this IC title, Sami Zayn, Bron Breakker. We'll put aside the shoulder spot that we discussed earlier. Some really nice stuff here in terms of teasing the finishes early.
Mm-hmm.
I felt they got slightly caught in between ideas here, though. Slightly. In the sense that Bron won emphatically, but I would have been tempted if that was where I was going. I honestly would have been tempted to go even harder. But I get why they didn't. I understand it. It's Sami Zayn. You don't want to kill Sami. But you get what I'm saying? I thought it was a little bit in the middle of two different directions. But I like what they did for the time. What did you think?
I thought they should have worked a longer match where Bron wins, or they should have just had Bron crushing.
Okay.
I don't think that they had the. I mean, that's basically what you said, but
yeah, that's perfect. That's fine.
I don't. The way that this match was put together, it seemed very clunky. Yeah. I like that they built to the Blue Thunder Bomb near fall. I like that they teased the finish from Money in the Bank, which set up Bron's win.
Agree.
But I don't. The first 2.5 minutes were like, and then they were like, oh, now we got to get to build the Blue Thunder Bomb, and then the finish. Like there was no like. It didn't feel well put together. I thought it was a pretty poor. It was well worked by both guys, but the actual, the mechanics were fine.
Yeah,
the finish was great. In fact, I thought the whole show, all the finishes were great. That was the highlight of the show in terms of the matches, where all the finishes were good. Most of them. I'm torn on the Punk one, but we'll talk about that. But like, they just the layout of the match was not good. It was like, if you want to work a 6 minutes sprint, they could have done things differently. I think.
I agree.
But the right guy won. I still think I'd rather have Braun win in like 3.5, 4 minutes instead of 6.5.
Done a total shootout, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's this match is more of a minor complaint than the other complaints that I have on the show, so it's not a big deal.
Oh yeah, it was 6 minutes and the work was good. I don't think either's got an issue.
Like I said, both guys did well. I just thought it was the layout and the structure of the match was poor. But it was a great finish and a highlight of the show. Another highlight of the show is that things are going to switch on the shows now. Like there's going to be fresh outlooks on the shows, fresh avenues for things to go on Raw, especially Raw. Roman being back on SmackDown is obviously going to create a lot of things, but I thought it was a finely worked match, but just poorly laid out.
I will say, to their credit, I did think it came across as pretty significant once Bron actually did win and held the belt high. It did feel like a happen in terms of he's now here. He's made it to the dance, and I think we're pretty clearly going to be getting a lot more of him in big time matches. So, I'm mostly positive on it. I did think it was kind of a little bit stuck in between two different ideas, but these are the games we play. Anjan says, was that bracelet made out of platinum or something? We'll get to the bracelet, thank you. Grant says, they seem to be caught between booking underdog Sami and great wrestler champ Sami from what I've seen between the two Bron matches and the Gable match. I think it's what I think that is really just the result of his popularity in recent years, but the fact his natural skill set is selling babyface, and I think those lines can get blurred occasionally, right? Like he beat Gunther, right? Like he's not. So in that sense, I actually kind of get. I get why the idea that you and I kind of we were pondering on the previous show. Maybe Bron just kills him, and it's like you could very fairly push back on that by saying no, Bron shouldn't kill him, dude. He beat Gunther, right? So I understand it completely. Yeah, pretty good, I thought. Decent. Up next was US title, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I'll speak for myself here because I genuinely know what you think. I thought was the kind of the big overachiever of the night.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, one of the best matches on the show.
My
Logan
number 2, I
Paul,
think.
I would, yeah, I'm torn between this and another. Logan Paul, LA Knight. We discussed this at length in terms of there was a version of this that was good old fashioned pro wrestling, good guy, bad guy. And I thought they veered much more towards that than Spot Fest. Logan still had his little his high spot moments that they circled for him. But this had a real energy and a spirit this was just American pro wrestling, right? Like, and the people
Mm-hmm.
with LA Knight, who I think actually there needs to be a slight, reappraisal, I think, of him as an in-ring guy. I'm not saying that he's Bret the Hitman Hart. LA Knight is a lot better than people gave him credit for a year or so ago. I think he's proven that at this point. I thought this way overachieved. The finish came off great. Big fan of the US title match, Oracle. What did you think?
Yeah, Rip Rogers hated this match, but the
Rip Rogers?
but but yeah, this was real good. I thought it was a little odd, but like overall, I think the pre-match brawl really added to it.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job, like you said, of kind of leaning more a little bit into the heel face dynamic, and the heat for this was strong. Some of the spot, and like, of course, it got some spot fooey, which is fine, but they were spaced out pretty well. Some of the highlights were Logan's springboard moonsault was spectacular.
That was spectacular, yeah.
The brainbuster suplex, I don't know if that was intended to be a brainbuster or what happened. I don't think it was.
Timing.
It was very dangerous.
Yeah.
And it popped me huge.
Yeah.
And even at one point, like when they were going to the floor, I think LA Knight hits like one of the sickest like baseball slides I've ever seen. Like he almost kills Logan, takes his head off. If I'm thinking of the right match, right?
Yeah, you are. It was when Logan was going over to like his dudes at ringside. He did one, and he like bumped on the floor for it. Yeah.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I like the comeuppance of the one Logan Paul buddy who got his ass beat finally, and Machine Gun Kelly is a horrifying piece of shit. But he's
jeez, when he goes, like, good lord, man, enough is enough, please.
Oh yeah, the elbow drop. Didn't he like land entirely on top of him?
I recall. I'm not sure. I have to revisit it.
The elbow drop. Yeah, he like that was LA Knight who hit an elbow drop, right?
Oh, when he did the one where he leapt from the middle to the top, that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
And yeah, the so this was really good.
Pretty good.
Logan uses the the knucks or whatever. I mean, I'm being facetious when I brought it up, but I do agree. One thing Rip Rogers said is when LA Knight totally no-sold the knuck shot and like hit the BFT, whatever. But like that was a little bit, but they do that nowadays. They don't sell as well as they could in finishing runs anymore.
Well, ideally, he sells it post-match, but he won the belt and popped himself and just celebrated it.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Did you see the post show where he and Bill Apter were like?
No. Bill Apter?
Yeah.
Is he coming in to be his manager or something?
I don't know. They were like, Bill Apter were like having like a fun argument about like fighting in the parking lot or something.
Wow, I didn't see this.
Bill had interviewed him or something before on the weekend. This is in the press conference. And so it was like Bill Apter, like
incredible.
Yeah, exactly. LA was like, he's fucking with him hard. And like Bill Apter was getting like, like
getting Bill Apter. LA Knight was yelling during this match. I don't know how you watched this. Did you hear LA Knight calling shit in this match, dude? It was unbelievable.
I was at my brother's and my nephew's 14 months old, so he's like in his bouncer. like
Mhm.
playing and shit. So like,
Okay.
sometimes his fun can interfere with stuff like that. But
he was
I didn't notice.
he was yelling. LA Knight was locked in. He was absolutely hell bent on getting this where it needed to. And like, Logan's obviously super capable physically at least. And yeah, it was just funny. Everything they did, he was screaming. It was tremendous. LA Knight, there was a complete like I thought it was so ridiculous. There was this attempt to convince people that LA Knight had he's not popular anymore. Like, look, man, say what you will about that dude. He's stuck as a actual player on the roster. Like he's a real guy on the roster. It's not it isn't like a short thing we're gonna look. It's not like a Damian Sandow, Zack Ryder situation, right? Like he's
Right.
a guy, dude.
Yeah.
People love him. Someone in our chat months ago, many months ago, maybe last year even, said that people want him to be Zack Ryder, but he's actually mid late 90s DDP. And I think that comparison gets more apt each time he goes out there, I think. So credit to LA Knight. I'm thrilled for him. What a ridiculous journey. He's been playing the same music for 20 years and finally someone started listening to it and they quite like the way it sounded. So credit to him. All right. Up next. What do we have up next? What was the fourth match of the night? Was it Bayley?
It was Bayley and Nia. Yeah.
Bayley and Nia, and then it was okay. So Bayley and Nia up next, and I was concerned for them from a crowd point of view. We discussed pre-show that could be an issue, and I think it was for the first
It was
half, 2/3 maybe. They kind of got them. This was basically what I expected in terms of it was a very logical match, a very smartly wrestled match, and I thought it was a good professional wrestling match. It's just I don't know if this matchup was ever destined to extend beyond that. But it was good. It was good in the exact way that you think Bayley would have a good match with Nia Jax, right? Made sense. She made Nia look a killer. She plugged her stuff in neatly. Like for a pretty good wrestling match, I thought. What did you think?
This was solid. The first half didn't do much for me, but part of that was just like, the heat was not there and the crowd was tired or whatever. Second half had some good stuff. The Bayley powerbomb on Nia was nuts.
Yeah, man.
They of course they did the Tiffy tease there. And you don't know what way she was going. They played it in the press conference like she was helping Nia, but you really don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
The finish was awesome. Nia's Vader bombs look tremendous. Her power bombs, they looked awesome.
That was sick. Yeah.
And then of course she had a really good bonsai at the end there to win. This was a solid match. I wanted it to be a little bit better, but it was not. It wasn't bad. By any means, it was very solidly worked. It was just, this was hurt a little bit by card placement more than anything. It could have been on an even worse spot in the card, which probably helped it some even more. But it could have been like 6.
After the next match. Yeah.
But good match, solid match. I would expect, and we'll talk a little bit more about it once we, finish wrapping up on the matches. But I would expect it'll be Charlotte and Nia here in a couple months when Charlotte comes back.
Yeah, I think so. And then you get into some Charlotte Tiffany stuff, right?
Yeah,
I think so. That seems most likely. Which I mean, as long as they don't try and sell an angle on the fact they once had a mini fight in the middle of a wrestling match, that could be bad. They go work shoot with it, that could be unfortunate. Hopefully not, but that'd be cool. But yeah, this was pretty good. It was about where I expected it to be. It was very solid. All right, here we go. We've made it to the big talking point. Very heated and contested. CM Punk, first televised singles match in WWE for over a decade. Meaning his rival, Drew McIntyre, in a match that's been built up for almost the entirety of 2024. Seth freaking Rollins as the special guest referee. We talked about this match at length on Friday. The pros, the cons, the different moving pieces. And I'm actually glad in hindsight we had that conversation. because I think a lot of what we discussed was present for good and bad, actually. I don't feel strongly in one direction or the other about the way Seth was used in this match. I thought some of it was good, and I thought some of it was bad. What I will say, though, watching this match is, if we're being honest with ourselves, Oracle, much of this match, the recipe was sealed as soon as it became a special guest referee match. Really, if we're being truthful, right? And that's when I was watching this, and before I go any further, folks, I actually really liked the match. I really did. I thought it was a good match. I liked it. But I was watching it, I was thinking, of course, this is what it was always going to be. This you don't do a special guest referee to not do this. It was inevitable to me. We'll talk about the bracelet in a second. Yeah, that's kind of just early thoughts. We'll get in more detail. Oracle, what did you think?
So, I'm just going to strip away all the details first and foremost and say that this should have been CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with a regular referee.
Yeah.
Because the special guest ref almost ruined it for me.
I get that.
The work was good enough in the match where it didn't ruin it for me, but it really hurt it severely for me. And I thought Seth was not the worst case I've ever seen, but I thought he was I thought the match, and again, I don't like the guy, so I'm biased against him. I'm just going to straight up be honest with you.
It's fine.
I thought it was too much about him.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea that Punk, the whole story of Drew costing himself throughout the year. Now Punk cost himself, right? I like that in theory. The execution of it,
Yeah.
Drew should have won. I'm glad he won.
Yeah.
The first 2 minutes were electric. Awesome.
I agree.
And then it became about the three of them instead of the two of them. And it just didn't do it for me. Punk was very good at selling. He was gassed.
Yeah, which is fair enough, isn't it, really? Yeah.
But he was good in the match. He came out unscathed, it seems, which is awesome. Very happy about that. The first time when he put in the submission and then he saw the bracelet.
The Anaconda, yeah.
Silly. Didn't really like it, but I was okay. And I saw Seth put on, I was like, oh, it's going to happen again. Mm-hmm. Then it became all about the bracelet, whether or not the promos, whatever you want to say. It felt that way to me. I don't know, man. I just really wanted to see Punk and Drew in a match.
Yeah, I get it.
Without the added WWE melodrama and Seth Rollins and all this other stuff. And it sounds like I hated the match more than I did.
You're more frustrated with what it wasn't, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I was frustrated with what it wasn't. And what it was is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Which is fair, though. I don't think you're coming at this from an unfair position. I mean, it was a blood feud. I think it's more than fair that people are not satisfied with the violence here or lack thereof. It's
I really think we need to have Punk and Drew in the cell, but I don't think that's going to happen. I still think my initial prediction is what's going to occur.
Yeah, I don't know. This is really interesting. I'm actually looking forward to rewatching this to really figure out where
possible they do Punk Seth in Germany and then Punk Drew in the cell. That blood.
Oh yeah, I think
I don't know if Punk's gonna. I don't know. I mean, Punk just said at the press conference, but he was like, "I'm not working a Hell in a Cell match."
He says a lot of stuff at press conferences.
I know, he says a lot because he's full. He's full of shit. Should never hold him to his word, but I don't know, man. It frustrated me. Punk was good in the match. Glad he didn't get hurt. It's just I didn't like it.
I actually, everything you're saying makes sense. I co-signed some of it. I did find some of the Seth Rollins stuff to be compelling. in the sense that Seth was trying to be, but he kind of got stuck in like circumstance kind of killed him, right? I thought there were some nice ideas. I did really like the
Age of
SummerSlam.
97, or whatever the hell.
Yes, now so just back at that. I love the tease. I wish Michael Cole didn't yell that they were going to tease it. That was very unnecessary. I could have just done it myself and figured it out. Again, love Michael Cole, but good lord. I agree with you. I thought Punk had a very encouraging performance. I really did. Yeah. Was he blown up? For sure, dude. He's not wrestled all year, and it's a stadium show. They started with a 30-second brawling frenzy. I thought Punk looked pretty good. The thing that I think made me like this match more than a lot of people, and I haven't read everyone's opinion because I've only just got online. I actually thought, and this is going to get me killed, but whatever. You can only give your opinion on these things. I actually thought the drama they got out of the friendship bracelet was pretty neat, personally. Just me personally. And I have my issues with some of the cinematic WWE stuff, but I did like that shot where, when Punk was like reaching for it? I liked that. Now, if you thought that was the dumbest shit ever, I can't, I get it. It's a friendship bracelet. But what to me, the idea of that is that here is a guy who trusts no one, likes no one, but this is his, that's his family, right? That's what he's supposed to symbolize. Is that silly and dramatic? Of course it is, but this is professional wrestling. These things happen. I did think it became a compelling tool. Did they lean too far in that direction afterwards? Probably. I concede on that. But I do think the argument I would say is, and this doesn't mean you have to like it, when he first went for the bracelet, the people's response to it, I do think tells you that there was something there. But that's just me personally. But again, everyone's all over the place on this. The crowd, I think, reacted to it in a way that suggests that it does have more value to the people following the story than perhaps it does to others. But nonetheless, it's a complicated one. It's complicated for the reasons that, we kind of laid out on Friday, right? We were worried about the Seth. And again, I don't think Seth was like, there was a couple of things he did that irritated me, but that's Seth Rollins. That's part of the experience. Some of it, I thought he was on the money. It's hard, man. A special guest referee match is not where you do the big, but hopefully in a year's time, we're looking back at the Drew CM Punk feud and we just, that was a starting point. Hopefully. The follow-up needs to be good, though, doesn't it? It can't be.
Yeah.
And eventually, we do need to have a really violent match with CM Punk and Drew. We need to have a match that matches what we saw in the first 2 minutes.
Not involving, not somebody else.
Yeah. And not involving the friendship bracelet even, right? But
yeah.
A lot of moving pieces. The biggest thing that I take away from it positive, I liked Punk's performance, and I'm encouraged by how he looked physically in terms of, I was very concerned looking at him when he was doing promo. I thought he looked too big, quite frankly. I didn't think it was going to be a good fit. I actually thought he looked good in ring. Drew was great. Drew's been spectacular this year. So, scatterbrain here, folks. I apologize. But there's a lot in this match, isn't there? There's like 3 different things that you have to kind of tackle at once. So, yeah, I don't know. I liked it, though, personally. I really did. So there you go. Anything else on Punk and Drew after I rambled for an hour?
Well, I'm more interested about what they'll do afterwards, and we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Okay, we'll do some direction talk to close, yeah? Mm-hmm. Works for me. All right. Up next, I think our collective match of the night, right?
Yes.
World's title. Terrific. I'm calling it the big gold moving forward.
Not the mid gold anymore?
No, never again. Because the big man, Gunther, has claimed the big gold. He dethroned Damian Priest in a match that I'm going to pat myself on the back on this one, Oracle. I said this to you months ago. Damian Priest he's a chameleon, dude. He will wrestle exactly in response to the guy he's wrestling. He'll have PWG matches with high spot guys, and then inexplicably he'll show you that he can actually be like rough and tough and aggressive. I thought he was superb here. There's one thing he does in the finish that everyone's, I'd imagine everyone's responded to with the ropes that was infuriating, and I don't know why that was a thing that happened. It annoyed me.
Which part?
When he rolled Gunther into the ropes, very frustrating. Just it completely broke my immersion.
I forgot about that. I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and it frustrated me. But
because it was I've got to make sure he's close for Finn if we can get this spot. That's why.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's
just,
still annoying.
right. Other than that, I thought he was great here. He made an absolute point of matching Gunther's intensity and physicality. I thought this was the best match on the show and a really, really strong match. We'll get back to Finn Balor's face in a second. What did you think?
Oh, this match was tremendous, man. I mean, they beat the shit out of each other. Like Gunther was getting his ass kicked, and it was believable. The like Priest, like you know how like his kicks, he was legit kicking him.
Yeah.
Like he was like, and Gunther's bloody chest was awesome. And Gunther like this like knew like played off of it really well. Like it fucking ruled, dude. Did you see his chest out in the post match interview?
I did
Where
not know.
the cut was? It was like this wicked fucking like lightning bolt scar on his fucking chest from where he was bleeding.
He was clobbering him, dude.
Like this match was tremendous.
Yeah.
The Balor turn was, I think the execution was kind of a little bit ridiculous in some ways, but like I think it's a cool turn. Like they finally are split on the Judgment Day. That's another aspect now that makes me want to see Raw. Because of this turn. Priest like fighting out. Like, did you hear how loud the crowd was when Priest fought out of the? That was awesome.
Yeah,
and then he
man.
did the part where like it was a little. I saw some criticism. It's a little silly where like maybe he fought out of the sleeper because he was looking at Balor or whatever. I don't know about all that, but like the part where he like fought out of the sleeper and then like try to give him the choke or whatever. But yeah, this was a great match. Gunther wins. People were mad that like Gunther didn't beat him clean. Or I'm like,
oh, for God's sakes!
He just won the match.
He's
like,
a heel.
It's fine to like. You know what? Ultimately, in the end, this was a better way.
Yes,
because Gunther was IC champion for a year and a half.
Dude, he also dominated this match. In the middle, he was beating the hell out of Priest.
Nothing he didn't need to prove anything to the audience at all.
No, he's a made man.
He can win a match because of interference.
For sure, yeah.
Like, this was more important for making Priest, I thought.
Yeah.
And it made him. I thought this match made him more than any other match all year.
Yeah.
He was great in the cash in was great because it was a great reaction. The second part of him being made was a Drew match, and then this was what solidified him, I think.
I agree.
Like, I think he's a made guy, Is he a tip-top guy? No, but I think he's one of the,
He's one of the guys, one of the top guys, yeah.
Yep, and good for him. He earned it. But yeah, this match was fucking awesome. Easily the best match tonight. I thought it was like 4.25.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really great. Yeah, this was the highlight of the show for me.
I agree. I'm a little lower on it than you just because Finn Balor's face was I couldn't do it. I'm the Finn Balor fan on the Late Night Grid.
He like curled his lip and everything. I also like this part. As silly as it may seem, I actually liked it because when Balor put his foot on the rope, Priest had to look at the screen to figure out what happened.
That was cool.
That was
cool. Yes.
I liked that a lot.
That was good. The only thing that would have made it better is if he turned around and Finn wasn't in, screenshot mode with his back to him, like they were shooting Batman or something.
Right. It would have been better if Finn was looking at him.
Yeah.
When he turned around,
You could have even had
like laughing or whatever,
Yeah, you could have had him laugh, or you could have even had him be like, "Fuck, he saw it." You could do either of those. I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. He looked like fucking Jim Carrey in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Like why did he do that dumb face?
I just wish
because Finn can make good faces. Do you remember when Dom turned at Clash Castle? Do you remember when Dom turned and Finn was bursting out laughing?
That was awesome.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry to dwell on this, but it stunned me just the way they did it was very funny. I couldn't help but laugh. But look, we agree. Best match on the show. Great piece of business. We're super excited for Gunther as well as champ. Damian Priest leaves this as a made man. Finn Balor has a hot direction to go into. You assume it will overlap with the Liv and Dom stuff. I think it's fair to guess there's going to be some crossover there. This was very effective. This was the best thing on the show. Okay. Some super chats, main event, and then we'll look ahead briefly and get on out of here. Plethora says, "Oh, how Queen Nia for saving the women's division." You know, sincerely, there is actually a great example of Nia of you just sometimes you just got to get yourself in the game, right? If I'd have told you a year ago she would win the title, this is before she even came back a year ago, right? Nia Jax is going to come back, and next year at SummerSlam she's going to win the belt. And guess what? People are going to be pretty much fine with that. Some people are going to be happy about it. You'd have called me insane.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you just got to get yourself in the game and anything can happen from that point because the landscape changes every single week, right? Things move around, things change. And we're currently looking at a women's division where Liv Morgan and Nia Jax are the champions. Now, make of that what you will. I'm sure many of you will hear that and go, good God. Some of you will pump your fist. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. But my point is, things can be real wacky when you're flying, doing 5 hours of TV a week or whatever and running wild. Shit happens sometimes. Nia Jax has emerged as a real piece for them this year. And that seemed unfathomable when she was outside of the industry for a couple of years there. So credit to her. I'd imagine it was very rewarding, very satisfying moment. Okay. Andy, did Punk Drew sell you on a ring match? How would you keep them apart and get them back together? Hope Punk can stay healthy and they get the tools for Hell in a Cell. So they sold me on a ring match in the sense that I think there was clear evidence of a better match within this match. How do you keep them apart? Oracle, you've kind of kicked around a few ideas in terms of the triangle feud, right? Like it feels like my only concern with Triple H is that he stretches it out too thin, Like Punk doesn't wrestle until Bad Blood where he wrestles Seth and then he ends up wrestling Drew in like December. And it's like, God, by the time we get there, it'll be,
Yeah, I know.
Because he can do that sometimes. So that's my only concern. But you've been kind of saying, use Berlin as the middle and then go Bad Blood, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I just worry because Berlin's going to be a 5-match card, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure, Andy. But we both want to see the rematch. And we both, I think, Hell in a Cell, that would be ideal, even if I'm not necessarily. Okay, Grant says, I think if you like the WrestleMania 28 Cell match, then you like Drew Punk because of Seth Sean parallels. Dude, say what you will about Seth freaking, but he never went full Sweet Chin Music Sean from WrestleMania 28. When Sean's doing when he's doing the Ilya Dragunov in the corner. I hate that Mania match. This wasn't for me, but I love the heat and Punk's performance. I actually think there's something to that parallel, which exposes my hypocrisy. So thank you for that. I like it a lot. Special guest referee is always a slippery slope. Incredibly, one of the great special guest referee performances is Triple H from the SummerSlam in 2013, which is the one night of his entire life where he was content with not being the center of attention for a half hour. Incredible. Because last night wasn't one of those nights, right? But that one did happen to be. Trev, since they couldn't have made it more obvious with a video package after, do you think they run Cena Gunther at Mania or wait till Cena's last match? I think WrestleMania.
I think it's Mania. You think Cena's beating him? I think he might be.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
yes, I do.
Is that bad? I think Gunther's made by that point. No big deal. Actually,
it'll be a cool moment. It'll be a cool moment. Yeah. I just hope John, by that point, looks,
Yeah.
Just, I have worries about John. That's very. I want him to look like he's in good in-ring form.
He might want to buzz his hair too.
Maybe so.
If he's going to be around for 30, 40 dates in 2025, he can afford to buzz his hair for a year.
Yeah. I do also think of John's going to have to make some business decisions in terms of how hard he's going to work on this tour, right? If he's intended to have this sort of 2015 run, I think his body may just not be too keen on that. I don't know. Hopefully it goes great, dude. I have my fun with the John Cena stuff, but it would be great if he had an awesome retirement tour. The Gunther match is by far the most compelling, I think. By far. Mid takes, last one for now, folks. Kim Come, we really, really appreciate it. Also, smash the like button. He says, maybe it's just me, but Jacob selling his ankle didn't make sense. He might be cooked. What's the Berlin card looking like? Okay, so
he's in a boot.
He's in a boot. I thought it was a complete work because I thought it was just their way of, letting Roman come back without bumping Jacob. I guess not. Hopefully he's okay.
Apparently he was walking around fine, but you never know with a boot. Sometimes there could be a worse injury. We don't know. I don't know.
We'll circle back to the Berlin card. Right, we'll do that at the end, but we'll get back to it mid-takes, absolutely. Okay. What you going to say, Oracle? Sorry.
Yeah, I was torn on whether that was a work or not.
Yeah.
But he did look awfully mad at one point.
He did. But I feel like he can pull that off pretty convincingly.
It's kind of hard to tell with Jacob, so.
Which is part of the appeal. Speaking of Jacob, again, mid-text, we'll circle back. Let's get into it. Main event, Solo Sikoa, the master of the deadly spike, opposite Cody Rhodes in a Bloodline Rules match. And I truly am not sure we have ever seen a wrestling match more closely resemble a lame Hollywood sequel than this. Yeah. In the sense that I think there are some good things in this match, and I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But it is literally just like it's like the Hangover 2, dude. It's like, we're going to just do WrestleMania again. But with Solo.
Like, it was fine. Like,
yeah.
I thought that, like, it was just, they basically did that. They absolutely did that.
But why?
Well, I mean, look at Triple H and, the Gargano Ciampa feud. Seriously, like, of course, he's not the one who booked this. I'm sure it's more of a Heyman thing, but like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I shouldn't point Triple H on this.
But no, but I think this. I guess just my thing. I didn't think the match was a terrible wrestling. I don't understand the logic of going back to a formula that you perfected with lesser pieces. Like, you haven't got The Rock, you haven't got Undertaker, you haven't got Roman in the match.
And I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'm with Ibu here. Solo sucks, man. Like, he's not.
Yeah. I don't disagree, but I do think at some point you have to. I don't understand why he's having this match, though, Oracle. That's the part I struggle with. It's like, I'm not saying he's a good worker, but like, bro, why is he having a 15-minute heat segment in the main event of SummerSlam? Like, why is he doing that? He took so much. How much of this match did he take? Am I exaggerating? He took he was beating the hell out of Cody here.
Oh, with the Uranagis and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought some of it looked okay. And it's like, again, so I have two different takes. It's like, how did I feel about the match? I thought it was very middling, very dull, very forgettable. The reason I'm more passionate than that opinion is I don't think it had to be this way. And I have no idea why you would do a Bloodline Rules match and have them do a 20-minute wrestling match. I thought we was avoiding that.
Yeah, is that the Bloodline Rules stip? Is that you just have a regular match until everybody starts interfering? I mean, is that the gimmick?
And we have no problem.
Last night during the match, I was like,
dude, we have no problem.
Don't you want to use a weapon or something? Like,
right. Cody and Roman can do that. That's fine. They're Cody and Roman. But why would you do it with Solo when you've actively given yourself the chance to make it a plunder brawl with a bunch of run-ins?
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry. I know I'm asking you questions you can't answer. Yeah. I know, but it's like this frustrated me more, actually, in the sense that I was watching it and I'm thinking, one of these fellas could get out a gun, use it in the middle of the ring, and the people will not bite on a false finish until there's a run-in. They know it's not ending, fellas.
True. That's true. It's very much an NWO main event if someone saw them put someone.
That's exactly it. So, I'm sorry, I've talked about this much. What did you think of the main event? Like, I know I've been all over the place here.
I thought it was pretty boring. It was like whatever. The run-ins were done well. Jacob Fatu's, we don't know if he's hurt or not, or if he was just trying to get out of Roman's way. It appears he's in a boot, so I don't know. Yeah. Hopefully it's not bad if that's the case. The Roman pop was unbelievably huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what a pop.
Yeah.
Up there with Cena at the end of Money in the Bank, Brock at the end of SummerSlam back, 3 years ago in 2021. Just an incredible mega pop. He was awesome too. Like, he just came out and slowly sauntered out there, and Superman punch spear, and then I loved his he looked like he was wearing his stuff he would at the gym, on a random Tuesday.
I have to say one negative about the OTC thing is insane, dude. What are we doing?
the OTC. Yeah.
Just what are we doing? Triple
Oh.
H, he's so proud of the OC idea. He thought he would add another entry to the history books. Insane.
I love the cinematic Cody Roman. The
That was
knocking
cool.
Roman in the walkway,
Yeah,
and then
that was
I
cool.
love Cody looking at Roman the whole time because he doesn't trust him still, But at the same time, I think it was Ibu who posted. I mean, that basically is the Rock and Austin of the company,
For sure. Sure. I'm thrilled he's back, dude. Thrilled. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I got so worked up about this. It just irritated me, Oracle, I mostly enjoyed. I didn't think it was a particularly good show, but I mostly enjoyed just, I thought it was fun to watch, especially because I could skip Jelly Roll and all that stuff, Miz.
Hey, Jerry took a really good bump for his chokeslam, though. I'll give him that.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. But it's the best I had for that, sorry. But yeah. I hope there is at some point one day a professional wrestling booker in the game will just kind of go, you know what, fellas? Maybe we could do a main event that's totally satisfying for our audience without going 28 minutes tonight, Maybe, right? Maybe. Apparently Jelly Roll was good. Guys, shout out to Jelly Roll. I'm sure he's watching. The show's 4 hours long, and then I had this will pop you. So I didn't just watch SummerSlam, so I had to catch up on the boxing from last night, right? So I'm halfway through SummerSlam, and I buy the boxing pape. I'm getting to on, don't worry, but I've got it. I bought the boxing pay-per-view so I could watch it after, right? So I finished SummerSlam, 4 hours. I hit play on this boxing show. It said 10 hours. It was 10 hours long, dude. It was 10 hours. I just finished SummerSlam and I had a 10-hour slate waiting for me. We're going to get to Arn Anderson in a second. I had 10. I mean, you can imagine my face when I was watching Solo put the nerve hold on as I was looking at the hours of my day, just narrowly erasing. God, it was just unbelievable. All right.
That's crazy.
We're going to do the...
That's like me watching, World War II stuff over the last...
No, the best one you ever did was... the craziest Oracle binge ever was when you had that line about, over the weekend I watched the last 6 weeks of Rampage like it was like Modern Family or something.
I forgot about that.
Sitting there watching 5 private party matches back to back.
I forgot about that.
All right, we have some super chat. We had this. We're going to go back to this one. Thank you. Plethora said this was Mortal Kombat Annihilation. I don't know what that means, but yeah, it sounds right, dude. Sounds spot on. I assume it means bad sequel. Hangover 2 was the best example because Hangover 2 is basically just the same film, right?
Yeah.
It's the best I had. All right, this is what I was saying. Makes mid takes in the super chat. Joe, I don't think you understand. Arn Anderson was on screen, 4+ stars just for that. Also for the fact that Arn called in Randy and KO. It makes no sense, dude. The funniest thing is,
did Arn call in Roman?
Well, I guess we'll never know. So when he was, when he had the deal where he got off the coach or whatever the fuck, and he had Pharaoh, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if the enforcer Arn Anderson showed up? Instead, it was Pharaoh. I was like, oh, well, I mean, it's cute, I guess, but there's no Arn Anderson. And then Arn Anderson, I have to say, shout out to the enforcer. I thought he looked like he'd done some serious weight on Anderson. He looked. Yeah. I think we can get him back in there, to be honest with you. I think if we get him over on Collision, he could probably work a few 6-mans with the FTR. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But
how about that promo from AA?
He was fired up, locked in, super, super locked in, and was, I thought, pretty awesome here. I wonder if he sticks around. Do you reckon Arn might kind of, maybe be a babyface coach occasionally?
I hope so.
So do I. I think it'd be cool, but he got a good reaction.
He brought in someone Cody didn't know about. Did he say that? He called Roman Reigns.
I'd love to hear that conversation with you. The enforcer.
Roman sitting home fucking in Atlanta, or the hell he is.
Man.
Is he still living in Atlanta, or is he living in Florida?
I'm not sure. He'd pick up for the enforcer, though.
Oh yeah,
no doubt.
He'd pick up for Arn Anderson.
Of course he would. Yeah, it was very, very cool. It popped me huge. I know you was pretty thrilled to see the enforcer, right, Oracle?
Mm-hmm. Oh
absolutely. One of our favourites. Also, in news that won't affect you or that pops me and maybe two people in the chat, if we can get on one of those Legends contract thingies, right? We've barely scratched the surface when it comes to Arn Anderson video games and action figure stuff, brother. Give me some stud stable sets.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
there's a lot of money to be made here.
Give you some walk behind her arm from.
Oh, baby, let's
94,
go.
brother.
Because they're currently in the figure game, they're doing a Monday Night Wars set, so we could get like retirement on. You know, when he gives up his spot and he has the. we could get the Flair comeback promo on.
We could get Tire Iron on from '99 when he was.
Yes, we could. Yes, we could. But yeah, great to see the
manager. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, I wasn't even doing it. But I actually thought he did look like, if we looked a lot healthier. Shout out to Arn.
Yeah.
We love Arn Anderson. Hopefully, we'll do a green grapple on him at some point. But that was my favorite thing on the show, I think, to be honest, other than the Gunther match.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson. No surprise there. Flefera says Cody's title run has been 2 good AJ matches. It's a Chris Daniels X Division run.
Oh.
In closing, Roman better. Thanks, guys. I popped myself. I did a Q&A and someone said, what's your favorite Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns match from the 2010s? And, I suck at that stuff that I don't remember. So I was just like, what's the funniest way I can answer this? And I just answered all 3 as AJ Styles matches and pumped my fist to myself. I did like Backlash for Ambrose with AJ. What was the Seth match he had in 2019?
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, which I don't even know if I like that, but I pretended. And then the big Rome AJ match was sweet. So
yeah,
these are the bits we pull off. Plethora and he's playing his own game here, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think? X Division code? It's not about weight limits. It's about no limits, brother. All right, let's look ahead. The floor is yours on this one because this is definitely your domain. Upcoming directions, and if we can loop it back around to Bash at Berlin, that would be wonderful. What do you think?
So, the SummerSlam is no longer the end of the summer anymore to be. It's like the sort of like end, and then there's like a epilogue, which ends in the international show at the end of the month.
Biggest party of the summer.
Because the real stuff begins on, and if you paid any attention to the pre-show, I mean, people who were, crazy, we had it on for 3 hours. I was doing other stuff, but Joe Tessitore will be debuting on Monday Night Raw on September 2nd. He was there with Michael Cole.
Oh, my God.
You may have to look up the clip, Joe. He's like talking about like Big John Studd and shit.
Oh, my God.
Talking about how excited he was for the CM Punk match. And then, of course, SmackDown moves to back over to USA on September 13th. So the summer's not over yet for WWE. This was the end, and then there's an epilogue, and I think that's going to be like that for a long time now. With the fall stuff doesn't really start. The Survivor Series stuff doesn't really start till after Berlin, and they'll start pushing forward to that. So it'll be interesting to see if like Priest and Rhea. I kind of think it'll be a situation where like they're friends, but Judgment Day's over. Or not over, but like the new Judgment Day will be Finn.
Yeah. Who could they add?
What?
Who could they like add to the new Judgment Day?
Carlito's gonna be in it, right?
Right, but could they get someone good in it?
Dom's good. Come on now.
Dom's good. Yeah, Dom's good. They're not a playoff team right now. The Oracle, they're in the lottery. Dom's good. You're right.
But
hold up, we have a new Judgment Day member unlocked. Omos in the clubhouse.
Could you imagine the skits with Omos and Carlito?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do it. But yeah, as you were saying, Judgment Day kind of split.
So we'll get that. I imagine we'll get. You think we'll get Priest Balor in a singles match
in Berlin?
In Berlin, there's only 5 slots, because Triple H is weird like that because he thinks it's takeover.
So what matches do we think are like that's a lock for Berlin? Is there any?
Gunther's main eventing against somebody.
That's the thing, though, right? Who are they going to do the Drew match? You think?
Drew? Drew can't lose again.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. See, this is what I was. This is what I was wondering.
Ilya, but Ilya doesn't make any sense.
This is the one that I was thinking, but it scares me. I don't want to do a triple threat with Gunny.
Oh my gosh, they might.
It does kind of make sense. Yeah.
And I don't think he wants to do a triple threat either. So
not at all. Not especially on that show. Oh man. We might need to heat Cole Anderson up, bro.
Yeah. Gunther Priest rematch.
I mean, look, there's worse ideas, dude. You could always go back to Shamo, right?
I'm for it.
Fuck, what's the worst that could happen?
Sheamus has to win his Pete Dunne TV feud, though, first.
Ilya's going to work with Braun, right? That's what to me, that's happening in Berlin. Yeah. I think that's in Berlin.
What about this? I think there's a chance of this, but then I don't think he wants to work a 4-way. Gunther, Punk, Seth, Drew.
Yeah, I don't know how Gunny feels about that. The absolute funniest way is they do Jey Uso. That would be the funniest.
Please no.
And they have an 87 WWF house show match.
Oh, fuck.
This is a good point. Look, Kai has a Sheamus tomorrow.
Okay.
Let's just do that, man. Let's do that or do Ray or something. Let's do that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's do one of those. It feels like a show where you can make a real announcement in terms of what Gunther's going to be like as champion. Let's have a great wrestling match, you know?
It feels like Berlin's going to have a bunch of rematches, right?
See, who are the big stars left off this? Because I think there's a good chance they make the next show. They often do that, right? It like rotates.
Yeah. Randy Orton, Kevin Owens. They probably wanted to do RKO, whatever you want to call them. I don't know.
Yeah, this is
Tangaloa against Jacob and Tama, but it might end up being Gorillas of Destiny versus.
Okay, I've got to say this. Anyone who watches these shows know I very seldom go in this direction, but I'm sorry, dude. What is up with Tangaloa? Like seriously, is he good, man? Like I'm not even trying to be an asshole now. Like he seems like a really nice bloke, so I'm not trying to be personal, but like he can't. Everything he does goes wrong. Did you see that deal he did in the corner where he tried to, and he like missed the corner of the ring?
Yeah,
the corner of the ring, Oracle. It's this. I've never seen honestly, I've never seen anything like it. And like Money in the Bank, I felt bad for him because it looked pretty apparent to me he got concussed. It's like I'm watching him and he just looks terrified. Everything he does, he looks scared he's going to mess it. I feel bad for him. I hope they I don't know. I just feel terrible for him. I mean, I've honestly never seen anything quite like it. So yeah. Shout out Tangaloa, I guess. Hopefully he doesn't wrestle in Berlin. I could definitely see Gable and Uncle Howdy being on there.
Yeah, they probably should put that match on there.
Because Uncle Howdy's not wrestling on Monday, right?
Right, no.
So you got that. Yeah, that's probably where they'll do that. Which will be divisive, no doubt. Jay, Sammy for the table. I don't know, man. It's actually really hard to do because of how they do the papes. 5 matches makes it like really difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's no way he's doing more than 5. No way.
Maybe Nia versus. I could definitely see a Nia Bayley rematch. That feels like the kind of match they'd put on there. Yeah. I don't know. All right, as we wind down, folks, we do our plugs and stuff. Keep any suggestions for Bashable incoming because I think we're both kind of stumped, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Who's LA Knight going to work with for the US belt, by the way? Because I don't know if you've looked at the SmackDown roster, but
yeah, did you lose to Andrade?
Twice, but who's counting?
Yeah, that's true.
SmackDown roster is unlike anything I've really. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's like, well, yeah, it's bad, but it's like it's top heavy more than that, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Because it's like, I've been talking to Iba about this a lot. So when AJ comes back, who do you program him with? It's Andrade, right? Because everyone else he's worked with like a million times.
Yeah, that's true.
How good is Andrade El Idolo, by the way?
Oh, he's great, man. He had 2 good matches with Carmelo Hayes.
You're not wrong. Yeah, hopefully he gets some stuff coming up here in the future. But yeah, there's some broad stroke stuff, folks. We'll be covering it every step of the way, of course. The pay-per-view previews and occasionally the pay-per-view reviews. Oracle, any final thoughts, brother?
No. Just remember that we've got a Jeff Jarrett Grin along on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the matches yet, so maybe I should probably get that done.
Bob doesn't get to them until like an hour before the show. Don't worry, dude.
So we've got that going on Tuesday. Friday, the SummerSlam thing. I think I'll probably be there for that. The Grin.
Oh yeah, in the draft, yeah.
I'm gonna leave it to you to announce the rest because I don't know.
Well, this is going to be the biggest month in late night Grin history. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, I mean, obviously everyone has their own personal list of the biggest months in late night Grin history. So get a new blank slot up top. Yeah, as Oracle said, next week we're doing a SummerSlam, or this Friday, I guess now, we're doing a SummerSlam draft, which is a really cool concept. Our friend Chris Bordheim brings it over to Late Night Grin. Basically, every match in SummerSlam history is on the board. And you're
this week?
I believe, I'm almost certain, yeah. So we actually will be trying to build our perfect SummerSlam card in a draft format. So, for example, if my first pick was just for the sake of
combat.
Yeah, perfect. I didn't want to spoil a pick. If it was Tribal Combat, no one else could pick. Imagine the tragedy. No one else could pick Tribal Combat. So that's the way it works, basically.
Imagine if you're the one left for Tribal Combat. That would be
very unfortunate, yeah. So that's this Friday. Grin Grappler Jeff Jarrett, as Oracle mentioned, on Tuesday. Last night we did a Collision watch along. Go check that out. It was a hell of a time. Myself, Dukes, and Novi. The FTR match on Collision was sweet, by the way. Sweet stuff. Go check that out. Next Friday the whatever the hell, TNA, the pay-per-view that the Impact Zone caught on fire during. We're doing that Grin along, which Contrarian Alex was in attendance for. Glorious times. Okay, so Fightful said the plan was Jacob would sell his legs. That's very promising. Then it's time for some more pay-per-view previews, folks. We got All In, we got Bash at Pull In, but along the way, I feel comfortable announcing this now. I'm going to announce an announcement. By the end of August, the Late Night Grin landscape will have changed. We haven't signed Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, but we've come close to it. You know, the game's going to change now, folks. So we're coming up on our anniversary, brother. Late Night Grin, episode 1. We're almost there. And once we get there, I think we're going to change things up a little bit. So big month coming up in the land of grins. And this has been a hell of a time, brother. It's great to talk some graps here in the afternoon, the evening, wherever we're at.
Tremendous
It's
time.
been wonderful. We have not signed Skip Bayless. I'd like to make that clear. All right, folks, this has been Late Night Grin. We would love for you to smash the like button in tribute to the great Robert O'Neill. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all the super chats throughout the program, allowing Oracle Night to buy more physical media.
That's right.
And once I hit end stream, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Comment your favorite match, your least favorite match, SummerSlam thoughts, Skip Bayless opinions, anything you want, comment them below. Keep grinning. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. We'll see you on Tuesday for Grin Grappler. I have a couple of guest spots too. I'll tweet about them on the outro, on the Twitter gimmick. Keep grinning. All how. Enjoy this outro, folks. Bye.